What is going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as Digibyte to BTC. We're also going to be looking at the current coin market cap, as well as going into some in-depth analysis on some very interesting claims made against cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in specific, as towards people may be trying to convince you to believe otherwise. If that is any of interest and you'd like to continue watching, please make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and let's jump into today's episode. So guys, we will be doing technical analysis after this, so please, if you wanted to do that, you can either skip ahead or just watch through, because I do believe there's a lot of important information to share. But basically, as the title states, you are being lied to. And what do I mean by that? Well, as we continue on through cryptocurrency, a lot of big people come out of the woodworks and start making some pretty big claims on crypto. And it's very odd. I do want to give one that supports cryptocurrency before we go into ones that are delegating otherwise. So this is a very recent article posted by I think this is like news.u today, but basically referring to John McAfee, or McAfee, however you want to pronounce his name. But Bitcoin bull John McAfee urges to ignore the Bitcoin price fall, stands firm on 1 million in 2020, which is a huge claim. It is a massive claim. As Bitcoin plunged below 8,000 this morning, the Bitcoin permabull, a crypto anarchist John McAfee, urges the community to ignore it, confirming his $1 million forecast, which is still huge to begin with. But if you know anything about John McAfee, you'd know that he is pretty much against a lot of the government things, and he does pretty much produce antivirus and like hackers software for computers. And if you see his methodology behind that, it's pretty much anything against the government spying on you and getting involved with what you're doing, and that kind of goes hand in hand with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So it makes sense he would push an article like this or a claim like this. Now I want to talk about some of the bigger guys in crypto. Bill Gates, we have Kevin OLeary, we have Mark Cuban, all making some very wild claims. And I know some of these articles are old, but they are still preaching it to this day on CNBC and a lot of other programs. So basically, Bitcoin bashing Shark Tank star Kevin OLeary has a secret crypto past, but more so you can see in 2019, he's calling it useless. Today, he's not so excited. May 2019 can be quoted saying Bitcoin is useless. OLeary criticism of Bitcoin mainly surrounds its lack of legitimacy and the market risks implied to accepting it. By calling Bitcoin garbage, OLeary is saying that you might as well be trying to pay with garbage, and some people will not accept that. But basically, the reason I'm showing you Kevin OLeary is because he is a huge influence over a lot of people. A lot of beginners who get involved into cryptocurrency see figures like this, and they believe them wholeheartedly. And you have to realize they're talking in their best interest for themselves, not for the general public. They don't sell information for free, and they're sure as heck not going to give you information to help better you. It's to better themselves. So you have to be considerate of what exactly they're saying as they make videos like this. They may have a huge portfolio of Bitcoin in their possession, and you may never know of it. And they're trying to, with their power and influence over the markets, kind of push it and steer it in the direction they want. So it's not only him. A very interesting influence, very similar to him, who probably they know very well, is Mark Cuban, talking about cryptocurrency, talking about Bitcoin as a high risk investment, and actually pushes 10% of Bitcoin in a portfolio, which gives me some interest that I do want to share on you. So I don't know if I can share this without getting in trouble. I feel like a lot of other YouTubers can post videos like this.
10% and put it in Bitcoin or Ethereum.
But yeah, he talks about putting it in Bitcoin or Ethereum, which is another very interesting point. For somebody of his size and stature to have, tons of money owning the Mavericks and things like that, why would somebody of his, size want to put any money into cryptocurrency? Very interesting for somebody that bashes it and talks, as this high risk investment, not something to get involved in. He's kind of saying he wants people to invest in it. It's something that is actually on his radar. And if you think about that, somebody who's inadvertently bashing the cryptocurrency, saying to hold on to it, is huge news. That means he is aware of what it is, and he is aware of the power of cryptocurrency, and he's actually investing in this himself, which is interesting. If you think about it, his 10% into cryptocurrency compared to our 10% is actually a huge difference. You know, a multi-millionaire, if not billionaire, having 10% in a market can definitely change the market to his advantage. And very interesting that him and Kevin OLeary are also talking very highly, or they talk quite a bit about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, which is odd to me. I feel like if they had zero interest in crypto, they wouldn't be mentioning it at all. Now we go on to Bill Gates, basically saying I would short Bitcoin if I could, expecting it to go down to zero. We've seen plenty of fluctuations where Bitcoin has gone pretty low, back up to 20 grand, back down to 3, back up to 14,000, and now back down to like 8 or 7 wherever we are currently. So very interesting. Just to make this a little quicker, Bill Gates talking about negatively cryptocurrency, co-founder of Microsoft, yada yada yada, talking that he is against Bitcoin and he pretty much wouldn't be involved in Bitcoin at all, especially about its fluctuation in prices. Now, as we know, Bill Gates is a multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire man himself who has had a lot of time period within he's a big capitalist. He's got tons of money, and to see something that's a little taboo or foreign, he would stay away from it. It makes sense. That's not how he made his fortune. He's pretty much done it the mainstream route in a certain way where he's pretty much capitalized on US dollar and fiat currencies. So for him to be bashing this once again with a lot of power and a lot of hype, very interesting that he gives his opinion on something like this instead of just talking. A negative opinion is still an opinion. It's still an emotion versus a neutral past. If somebody says, I have no interest, that's different than saying, it's negative, it's bad, don't get involved in it, I would short it. Somebody with that much money can swing markets like this, and somebody with that much influence it's very aware of what they can say and how it gets perceived by the audiences like us to see it. So it's very odd that somebody of his stature and size would even acknowledge Bitcoin. Same thing with Trump acknowledging Bitcoin. It's kind of odd to me because it really isn't that big yet, and for them to be acknowledging it means that they do have some sort of interest in it. Because if I was of that size and I started talking negative, don't get involved in it, yada yada yada, I know what I'm saying is going to have some interest over markets. So that could be what they're saying as well. Now, I do want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Bitmins. Guys, Bitmins is an awesome company where you guys can get involved in pretty much an alternate way of making money and investing and holding on to crypto in an alternate form. Basically, they do this through Bit Diamonds. It's a way of holding on to an artificial diamond that is unique, one of one, which I'll explain why in a second. All right, so it's as simple as expanding your account and then clicking on the dashboard in the menu, which will then bring you over to your dashboard, and you will find that you have your own specific hash code. It's as simple as copying this and then searching for that later on. You'll also notice that each Bitmint has their own unique code as well. So it's as simple as going on to details and then finding each one of their hash codes, which you can then use in the blockchain to identify, where your, crypto has been, as well as that it's a one-of-one copy, which is awesome as well. Very easy to share that information. It's very easy, very transparent as well. All you have to do is then go on to Etherscan, which is the Ethereum blockchain, and you can then find very easily the crypto or the blockchain, the specific Bitmint that you have in holding. So it's very easy. It's very transparent. I highly recommend it. They've been around for months on months on months, which is why I love Bitmins, and I highly recommend you guys check it out as well. Now, guys, I do want to jump into the current coin market cap. I know we've been talking highly about what exactly is going on with these bigger investors, and I do have some very interesting videos I will be posting shortly within this week that I think have quite a bit of interest. But you'll notice for right now, once again, another day where coins, they are slightly up, but have been trading out sideways, for the past couple of days with zero volume, just trading out sideways. Once again, like I said in yesterday's video, these are indications that moves are coming. When we see flatline volume, unlike this usually indicates that we are consolidating into another potential breakout or another potential move. I don't want to call it a breakout because I feel like people interpret that wrong by considering it a bullish break to the upside. It's a bullish move, or sorry, a move in some sort of direction. So for example, here we're looking at Litecoin on its daily, and we do have Fibonacci lines on here as well as the high-low MMA. And when I see both of those very close and intertwined with each other, to me and my realization of this, because as we know, these charts and Fibonacci lines are usually used for stocks. So when we interpret them in terms of crypto, it doesn't hold the same value because they're a totally different asset class. But when we look at things like this, we understand that sideways trading, based on previous history of markets within crypto, sideways trading, as we can see here, usually ends with volume. So, I mean, we have tons of other examples. You could pretty much just find it. Here we go again. Sideways trading usually ends with major volume in some sort of direction. We've seen this over and over and over again for months on months on months within crypto. So if you notice right now, we're doing the same thing. Sideways trading usually ends with big volume. And then we have to consider which direction should this break. And I know it's definitely a difficult, guess. We are still in a bear market, so there is still possibility of a breakdown to the downside. And unfortunately, there's no major, symmetrical triangle or pattern that we're in, no pennant of any sort that we're in. So trading out sideways like this, from my point of view, the fact that we are oversold is a greater indication that we may retrace back up to potential support up here. But we also have to consider that even on the weekly, we're nowhere near oversold yet, and we could continue to break down to the downside. Now, once again, even on Litecoin's weekly, we are still below its Fibonacci and its high-low middle moving averages. So that's another indicator we could swing back up to the upside. But we also have to take into place that Bitcoin is the leading, father coin on cryptocurrency, and wherever Bitcoin goes, all the other cryptos are going to move with it. So when we look at Bitcoin on its daily, we understand that yes, we are oversold. We're below the high-low MMA as well as the Fibonacci levels, and we're trading down on a support of $8,000, which is holding on quite well. So a short-term break or retracement back to the upside is ideal. It's looked at and perceived as something that is most definitely going to happen. But the second we throw in our weekly charts, we get a different perception of things. When we look at this, seeing 50 on the RSI gives us plenty of movement to break down lower. When we look at, we're just finally retesting our Fibonacci. I don't believe the middle moving average yet. You can see we're down here on the high-low MMA. So we have room to move down lower. Does give us more of a concern that we still have room to head lower. That's the problem right now. The one thing we're noticing is we're kind of hugging, or we were hugging, a support. You can see down here we were using a support here that we were riding on for like 2 weeks, and we kind of whipped down to that. So we're getting caught in this level right here, which does give me concern that we could be looking at a longer term bear market. This downtrend can continue to break lower, and it's very easy to figure this out. If we go on to the daily right now, and we do something called the percentage of the mouth of a triangle, which is right here, I believe. We go to price range or percentage, and we open the mouth, which is about a 44% jump, and we put this to the point of breakout, and we go to a 44% jump right here. You'll notice there is still room for us to break bearish, and that is why I'm still hesitant towards us breaking down to lower levels. You also notice that the point where we're breaking down to is very similar to where it looks very nice. It's a point where we have drawn out support right here. You can see now on the daily, on the weekly, this does indicate the high-low MMA. This is why it's a concern and why I'm sort of still bearish on the coin, even though we could see a short-term uptrend, is when you look at this on analysis, you'll notice this goes down and leads to a beautiful level of support. Not only does this indicate that we are trading in the middle of the Fibonacci levels, it also indicates us to be retesting the high-low middle moving average to a T. The percentage of the mouth opens up to exactly where we're supposed to be hitting, exactly, which is beautiful. It shows us that this is something to pay attention to. So that is my interest when we go back to the daily, that these are starting to line up, an indication we could head lower. Very difficult to, because we're so undervalued right now on Bitcoin's daily. Usually short term oversold on a daily does need some retracement back up into the uptrend. But to see this on the charts right here does give me indication that we could be still in a bear market, which we most definitely could. We could easily see something like this, where, let me delete this, where we see some sort of pump and then followed by more retracement. What I'm referring to is something along the lines of this as we head lower. This will ultimately head the price up into the more neutral levels and then sink back lower, So this is what we could be paying attention to. This is what I want to make reference to. If you do plan on buying at these levels, be aware that we could see a quick reversal, a move back to the upside, followed by an even lower low. I want to make that very certain that this is how the charts are leading or making me believe is going to happen. Now, I don't want to make this video go too long. I know we're about 15 minutes in, so just really quick to wrap up Ethereum and Digibyte. Very similar with the other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum trading out sideways once again, below its Fibonacci on the daily. The weekly we're below everything, so this looks very nice too. Very similar to Bitcoin's charts, besides the fact that we're undervalued. We are trading at 50 on the RSI, so Ethereum looks to be trading out and hanging out with the other cryptocurrencies. I would be kind of paying less attention to Ethereum. Ethereum will move with the rest. They're not pretty much the deciding factor of when they'll break. And Digibyte looks very prominent towards breaking to the upside. This is where I would have liked to see Bitcoin and Litecoin trading being oversold on its weekly, as well as being undervalued of its Fibonacci levels, as well as its high-low MMA, compared to what we're actually seeing, which is 50 on the RSI right here, and just finally attempting to touch its high-low middle moving averages. Does give me reason to believe that these coins are being suppressed by Bitcoin. So we should be paying closer attention, and all eyes are on Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin will be the deciding factor. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. Huge shout out to Bitmins for sponsoring today's episode, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.